All right, we are joined by Lydia Ko, ahead of the Kroger Queen City Championship presented by P&G. Lydia won this event in 2024, but here in a new location. Going to be playing the Pro-Am in a little bit, but have you been able to see the course yet, and what are your thoughts so far?
Yeah, I played early 18 with Anna yesterday. The course is unlike anything I've played before, to be honest. The front nine maybe reminds me a little bit of Meyer and some other golf courses, but the back nine is very unique. I think, in saying that, I think if the course setup is played really well, I think it's going to be really fun. There are a lot of tee box options, so I think some holes can play quite long and some a little bit more risk and reward. So yeah, it's exciting. It's always nice to come to new golf courses. I feel like we're all starting on a pretty plain slate and clean slate, and it's I think it's gonna be fun. I kind of have no idea what the scores are going to be like, to be honest. I think just with how crazy they go with pin locations and tee boxes, I think that's going to be probably the biggest key on how the scores are going to be. But I think it is a style of golf course that can be really fun when it is played the right way.
That was going to be my next question as well. You mentioned not sure what the scores are going to be since it's the first time out here. How does that kind of factor into your game plan as you head into the first couple rounds of the event?
Yeah, I just obviously have to play the best I can with how they do set it up. There's a few holes where if you don't hit your driver to a certain point, the hole can be very different. You could go from literally hitting a flick wedge into the green or to having a mid iron or even a long iron. So I'm not really sure how the rules officials are going to play that out. But yeah, just because there are a lot of tee box options and with the contourings of the whole golf course, I think they can really make it exciting. So hopefully that will be the case going forward. But as much as there's hard holes, I do believe that there are some birdie opportunities, but it is unique that there's only 2 par 5s and it's a par 70. So maybe it's not as easy as some other golf courses, but the golf course is not like super long to start off with anyway. So I do think there are birdie opportunities outside of the 2 par 5s.
And then I believe one of the last times I spoke with you was after your 60 at Ford, and you mentioned that you and your putter are in a honeymoon phase. So I was just checking in on the relationship with the putter and how we're doing.
We broke up. I'm not with that putter anymore, which is funny because a lot of people are like, why would you change from the putter that you shot 60 with? But it was, I think, just a one-off, one-day honeymoon. I played good that week in Phoenix, but honestly, after the first day, I really didn't hole anything that was past like makeable range. So I was kind of getting a little frustrated. Even when I missed the cut at Chevron, I drove it really well. My irons could have been a lot better, but I just my putting was probably the thing that really needed to get my momentum going. And I put in a new putter actually last week, and the first day was the best day I putted with it. So I joked that maybe I should have a new putter every day or every tournament, and I'll kind of have that honeymoon phase a little bit more often. But the putter that I was gaming last week is what I have in the bag this week, and it is quite a big change from my putters before, because I was in like a half mallet center shafted putter for a really long time. So even changing that putter in Phoenix was different, because it was the putter prior was something that I'd used for years, but this one has a completely different hosel configuration with the head, so it is a different look. And I felt like it was probably going to take time for me to get used to it. But if I'm going to change, I needed to have changed in last week or this week before the U.S. Open, rather than taking a new putter to the U.S. Open. And I do feel like it was a good change, and I feel really good. And I mean, last week's greens are pretty, it's pretty hard to kind of make that be an assessment of how I'm putting, because the greens are pretty severe there. There's a few holes here that where the greens are pretty slopey, but all in all, I felt like what I was looking for in my stroke and in my putting, I was able to see. So it was a good change. So yeah, it's hopefully something that's gonna stay a little bit longer in my bag. Yeah.
Perfect. And the last one for me, your hair claws have been kind of the rave of social media recently. Just people are wondering, you got any new debut hair claws coming out anytime soon?
Yesterday, Anna got me a watermelon clip and a turtle clip, and I've got the turtle clip here today. And Nelly sent me like a link of this chili pepper, and I was like, maybe it's spicy Sundays. So yeah, there's a few just from what my husband got me and my sister and a few of my friends, and a fan gave me actually a seahorse and a shell last week too. So with the collection, I feel like I need a whole bag for all the clips. But yeah, I didn't think of it was as a fashion statement at all. I just like food, so I started with a taco and then just had a few more, and it's kind of become what it is now. But yeah, it's nice to jazz it up a little bit, and it's been pretty funny that other players have been like, I think this will be good for you too. Yeah.
Perfect. We'll open it over to Amy here.
With your love of food, is there a certain food clip that you would just love to find you haven't been able to track down yet?
I love sushi, so like maybe something like sushi related would be really cool. Anyone send me a link if they see it. But yeah, it's funny that I don't even have a clip of my dog, which I have gone to the extremes of getting things of my dog, from towels to mug cups and all of these things. So people are like, oh, soon you're gonna have a hair clip of Kai, which sounds like something I would do. But yeah, I thought it was fascinating that there was a taco clip, and my husband was like, please don't tell me you had that on when you shot 60, and I did. So it kind of became a lucky charm thing, but it's just, I don't really like my hair sticking to the back of my neck, so that was why I had it. And yeah, it's been quite fun to choose like what goes with this and that. Yeah.
You were talking a moment ago about this golf course, not really seeing anything like it, kind of not knowing what the setup's going to be like. When you see a course like that, if you ever have before, what is your mindset? How do you approach a course when you just have a lot of question marks?
Yeah, I obviously had only really 18 holes, so like pretty much only once to see every hole out there. So I'm just trying to get a good idea of what the course is going to play like. Obviously the day of, and the weather plus the pin positions are probably going to be the biggest things on how the course is going to be played out. But yeah, I think it was good for me to just get a good idea of what the golf course looks like and kind of just take it in. And you don't want to ever go to a hole and be like, wow, this feels like a completely new hole that I've never seen before. So sometimes practice rounds are about trying to just get used to how the course conditions are, but at the same time just trying to get that like imagery in your head and be like, okay, like it doesn't matter how it's going to play, at least this hole feels familiar to me. And I think the cool thing about this golf course is there's a lot of shaping to the holes, and some holes where it's completely blind because the fairway is way below you or way above you, so you don't really know what's up there until you get there. So I think that's kind of where I spent most of my time yesterday, trying to just be familiar with it. But it's not like anybody else out there has more of an advantage than anybody else, so it's really the same. And ultimately, it doesn't matter if you play a major championship golf course or a golf course you've played 10 times or 10 plus. Like if you play good golf, you're going to get rewarded. So that's what I'm trying to do out there.
How would you assess your overall start to the season to this point in the year?
I feel like I played really solid. I missed the cut at Chevron, but it was probably one of the best driving weeks that I had. My irons weren't great, and it was the type of course where your second shot needed to be good to just set up a lot of birdie opportunities. And even when I didn't take any advantage in, in my putts. So I think it's been hard to kind of get the momentum going, but I've been working hard with my coaches in the ball striking department, and to kind of see that pay off, and even under pressure to be a little bit more consistent has been great. And it's funny, I'm 13 years in and I'm still excited to try the new technology, something that could help me, and excited to see, okay, what kind of club adjustments or what kind of swing adjustments would be beneficial for me under the gun when I'm playing. So I still have that excitement. So I've been really working hard with the Titleist reps here, the Ping reps, the Scotty Kevin reps, and it's been fun, which is like something different, and I think a little bit of a different demeanor I've been taking as well. And just with a combination of the work I've been doing with Chris and Holton and Siwoo, it's just I feel like I'm in a really good place going forward. Sometimes I think the hardest thing is to bring all the puzzle pieces together, and I think that's kind of what's lacking for me a little bit. But I still feel like I'm playing really solid golf. So I just kind of have to try my best to kind of not give myself extra pressure to bring it all together, but ultimately try and do that more frequently.
Lydia, you touched on the course's 2 par 5, so it's got 2 par 3 finishes on 9 and 18. It's kind of an anomaly kind of on the LPGA Tour. So talk about the par 3 on 9 and then the par 3 finishing hole on 18 for you guys.
I really hope it's not into the wind on 9, because I was joking I might have to hit like a small driver, but it's like 200 to the front. But it's not like we can hit from any other tee boxes, because it's either 200 or 60. So there's not many options going forward. Not very often do we hit woods or long, it's woods for me, but long irons for some of the longer hitters into a par 3. So it is unique. I always think, like, if you finish on a par 3, it's almost like you've already hit a good drive, and now you can almost fertilize and put yourself in a really perfect position to hit and attack the green. I think, like, it's just honestly as simple as that. Like, sometimes, like, oh, it's a par 3 finish, it's like different, but I said, hey, I just got to imagine I hit a really good drive and now I have this into the green. I think 9 is definitely the more difficult one out of 9 and 18. I do love that 18 is kind of on the short iron length, where I think there could be potentially a lot of birdies coming in, and that always creates a little bit of drama at the end of Sundays. So yeah, it's fun. I think that's the cool thing about this golf course. I think you could end up hitting a lot of long irons, but then some short irons and wedges. So you just have to kind of play very strategically. But the rough seemed actually quite long, so driving it well is probably going to be the most important thing around here.
Last one, we are starting a stretch on the LPGA Tour of being in kind of like the mid-market cities, right? So here, over 50,000 fans were here at this tournament last year, and we're coming into a stretch where the communities just come out and support you guys in droves. So when you're in markets like this, and on Thursday you've got fans all on the first tee cheering you guys on, as players, how does that elevate you? And then when seeing all the young girls and the kids that are on the first tee, and then also waiting to get you to sign autographs, how does that just elevate your play to inspire the next generation?
Yeah, I mean, even for the Cincinnati area, we've played in 3 different areas, from TPC Rivers Bend to Kenwood, which is a little bit closer to this golf course here. I think we've kind of moved around, so it's probably been good for the spectators that are also local to the areas. The great thing about this course especially is that we're closer to Cincinnati, so hopefully that attracts even more of a bigger crowd than we did maybe being in more of the rural parts or the rural outskirts of Cincinnati itself. But yeah, it's always, I think, exciting for us to come when we're kind of one of the biggest and most exciting events of the year, sporting events of the year to the area. I think that just always creates a lot of excitement, and we're back. I think we used to play in September or something, so we're back in 8 months. So I think for the golf fans and the juniors that came out last year or the previous years, they're excited that it's been less than a year for us to come back. But it does seem like we attract a little bit more fans when we are kind of the coolest thing in town. And I think, personally as players, we love that. We love the interactions we have with the future generations. We know that, the 12-year-old that got our signatures, she'll keep it and be like, one day I want to be in her shoes. And, that's, I think, probably one of the biggest and most important things that we can do is to inspire those juniors, going forward and kind of spark their little dream of wanting to play on the LPGA someday and, playing these kind of events. I obviously didn't grow up in the United States, but, for a lot of them, I think it's something for them to be very proud of, to like play in their home state or in their cities. And I think that is kind of an inspiration itself. So yeah, it's very exciting. I think having it like in different areas have kind of helped in that sense of creating a little bit more traction and attraction towards our event. And I do hope that this is something that continuously grows. But yeah, I personally love seeing, as much as I love seeing all spectators, the girls, the young junior girls and boys that are dreaming of becoming the next Nelly Korda, the next Minjee Lee, the next Scotty Scheffler, who knows, right? Or the next me. So yeah, it's been very exciting. Ohio is a very special state for me personally, because I won the U.S. Women's Amateur in Cleveland, and I've had actually wins in Toledo and Cincinnati and all that. So it's been a state that's been very good to me. So I'm trying to give back as much as I can while I'm still out here doing this. And I'm excited, and hopefully a lot of people will be able to come, because it's a great golf course where I think if you stand in one area, you can actually see a lot of golf, not only in the one hole that's out there.
Last one, you talked about your other wins in Ohio. What is it about Ohio that just suits your eye?
No idea. If I had that, I'd probably play more in Ohio, or be asked the tour if there were more events here. But there's been, I did notice that I seem to win in areas that I've won before. Like I've won a few times in Florida, won a few times in California, won a few times in Ohio. Never really played well in New Jersey kind of an area, but who knows? It's like that was kind of like a goal of mine, was to win at different locations and different tournaments that I've never won before, because I think like outside of just winning in different areas, it expands like what type of golf courses I can really compete at a high level at. So I'm trying to like not jinx myself in that point, but yeah, I feel like the fans have been great, and I think, we're going years back, but COVID was kind of the first time where it was like, whoa, like it's so different playing without them. So having them all the time, I think you kind of take it for granted, but when you have, something like a pandemic like that, you realize how big of a difference they make. And I've loved all the love and support that I've gotten. So like maybe that's it, but I don't really know if there's a common denominator apart from Ohio's been great and to me, and I'm just trying to give back as well.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Lydia.
Thank you.